Hello, ladies and gentle beans. So, tech news and stuff. Another episode. Game in the background is PlanetSide 2. I've been getting back into this game. It seems to have filled up again just recently with old players, new players. I don't know quite which. There's quite a lot of older players on there still because you can tell by their battle ranks and stuff. But okay, so those of you who are new to my channel and may be watching this, this series is basically where I just ramble on about technology and other stuff, obviously with the name Tech News and Stuff. I'm not majorly clued up on everything technological wise, but I do a bit of reading here and there, and I like to give my 2 cents on some of the stuff that we have seen technological wise the past couple of weeks or so. Now, the one thing that everybody is going to expect me to talk about in this episode is going to be the Xbox One, and I refuse to mention anything about that abortion of a console apart from that at this moment in time my money is headed Sony's way until they can show me something that actually gets me interested in that games console, in inverted commas. It's just not worth it, brothers, to me anyway. I mean, as a gamer, and most people who watch that conference as gamers were expecting something to a games console, more or less, and they didn't show us anything to do with games as such. I mean, they show us a few pre-rendered footage and a few trailers here and there, cutscenes and whatnot, and anybody who is dumb enough to think that any of the game-related footage that they showed was actually in-game or gameplay is ridiculously stupid. All that stuff that they show you was all pre-rendered stuff, and it was all done in the game engine, yeah, but not during gameplay. That the games are no way going to look like that while you are playing it. It just cannot be done. Pre-rendered footage is the best that they can get out of the console. So a game is not going to look the same as pre-rendered footage. It is just simple fact. Anyway, I am not going to ramble on about that too much because it didn't so much disappoint me. I was expecting Microsoft to do something like that, but you know, here it goes. Anyway, getting away from the console gaming and going back to what we all know as the master race, PC gaming. Now, I haven't got a lot to talk about in this tech news. There hasn't really been much going on. Everything everywhere is rambling on about the Xbox One. So, but we do have some news for PC, and that is the release of Nvidia's GTX780. Now, this uses the same infrastructure as the GeForce GTX Titan, which at the moment is one of the most powerful graphics cards you can purchase, but at a hefty price. It is extremely expensive. It is over $1,000 in the US, and well, the low end ones are going for £815, so that's just ridiculously expensive. Not a lot of people are going to be able to afford that kind of money for a graphics card, and you've got ones that are going for £1,067, and that is for people who have money to throw away. But they have brought out the Nvidia GTX 780, which is obviously going to be the 7 series. We're currently on the 6 series. I currently have a 670. Yes, 670, but a Zotac version of it, so it's been factory overclocked and everything. It's had all the stock coolers and everything taken off and had all custom ones put on. It is air cooled. I didn't really want to take it apart, take the customized stuff off and put liquid coolant on it, because I think the graphics card looks nice just the way it is, and it doesn't run too hot, so I'm not too bothered. Anyway, on to the 780. So how does it stack up towards the Titan? It has been labelled as the Titan without the hefty price tag for it. It isn't actually that far away from being a Titan. I mean, there's a few bits and bobs here and there that are different, but it runs on the same architecture and the same structure as what the Titan does. It looks fantastic. When you spend that much money on a graphics card, you expect it to look nice as well as actually do its job properly. A lot of graphics cards in the past have come with shoddy plastic casings and everything like that. Mine at the moment has got a plastic over case, and they're starting to now bring them out with aluminium, or aluminum is if you live in the Americas. But I will say that aluminium is the correct way to say it, because I am from the UK and you guys over in the Americas speak English. But yeah, the shader units, it has 2,304 shader units as opposed to the Titan, which has 2,688. So there's a fair difference there in how many shader units it's got. The graphics processor is a GK110, which is exactly the same as what is in the Titan. It's got 7,100 million transistors, which is the same amount as what the Titan has. It has a 3072, so 3 gigabyte memory unit, which is 3 gigabytes less than what the Titan has. And on the back of the actual card, you can actually tell where they have removed that memory from the card. There are soldering points on the back of the card where you can see where that extra 3 gigabytes of memory would have been if it were a Titan and not a 780. Memory bus is 384-bit, which is the same as the Titan. The core clock speed of the card is 863 megahertz plus, depending on whether you buy it stock or whether you buy it factory overclocked from a company such as Zotac or Asus or anybody like that. The Titan has 384-bit as well. Actually, the Titan core clock speed is less than the core clock speed of the 780. The Titan core clock speed is 837, but do remember that the Titan also has it's one card, but it has 2 graphics processors in it, so it's basically one card, but it is constantly in SLI anyway, so you'll get that 837 megahertz on two cards anyway if you purchase the Titan, so you'll basically get double that. The memory clock speed on the 780 is 1502 megahertz, which is exactly the same as what it is on the Titan, but bearing in mind again that the Titan is basically 2 graphics cards in one, so you double that all the time because of that simple fact that they are constantly running in SLI. If the game that you are playing supports SLI, there are a few games out there that do not support SLI, so you're going to end up having just that single 1502 megahertz. Price tags wise, as I said before, the Titan is around the £800 mark. 815 is the lowest one that I can see here. And then you have the 780, which the lowest one that I have found so far is 549. So that is a fairly big difference for a graphics card that is basically the same as the Titan. I mean, you could buy 2 of these things and SLI them together, and it's only going to cost you probably about £300 more than what it would be to buy one Titan. Now, obviously, Titan is still the most powerful graphics card you can buy out there. They called it Titan basically because the world's fastest and most supercomputer is actually called Titan, and that is what all this infrastructure is based on. And then they obviously starting to bring out the 7 series, which is also going to be based on the Titan infrastructure that the Nvidia GTX Titan uses. To be quite honest with you, after seeing this and after seeing what Nvidia released with this card, there are a few features that are actually bundled in with this card that are it has a thing called Shadow Play, which basically acts as a capture card. It can record the last 20 minutes of gameplay and save it as separate chunks of files. I was looking around at how big these file chunks actually are, and somebody put it up against Fraps, and Fraps doing 20 minutes at 1080. I can't remember what it was. Is it? I think it used up about 3 gigabytes, I think, of hard drive space, whereas the Shadowplay software that is built into the 780s and the Titan will have it as well when they start getting these things out and about. That took up, because it self-compresses, that took up about 320 megabytes, so it's quite a big difference, and there is not as much of a performance hit using Shadowplay as what there is using something like Fraps. They saw it drop from 60 frames, steady 60 frames per second to bouncing between 58 frames to 60, whereas on Titan, whereas on Fraps, when they were using that to record, they saw it bouncing down to 30, bouncing down to 20, and so there is way less of a performance hit using something like Shadowplay. But the downside of it is it will only record the previous 20 minutes of gameplay in one chunk. So if you decide that you want a 30-minute video, you've got to record the 20 minutes, and then it will split it up into a separate chunk of another 20 minutes. So you've got to edit those two together, which is not so much of a big of a deal, because a lot of YouTubers do that anyway. They don't just have one big massive file that contains their whole video. Like myself, if I'm recording, they are split up into 1 gigabyte chunks, which normally last about 20 minutes using AVerMedia capture card that I have, the Live Game HD and XSplit. The way that I record my videos is, rather than using the Rec Central that comes with the AVerMedia Live Game HD, I use the AVerMedia capture card to process the image that's coming off my monitor and then XSplit to record it. So rather than going into XSplit and selecting the game that I'm playing and having that come up on the screen and then using my processor to deal with all that information, I basically tell the AVerMedia, right, you're going to copy what's on this screen that I'm watching, and then you are then going to duplicate yourself onto XSplit, which then doesn't give me a performance hit on my processor, because the AVerMedia card is doing all that for me, and XSplit is just basically picking up that image from that card and then recording it. So it doesn't really give me so much of a hit, and I can record for absolutely ages and it not really put a dent in performance for me. The only thing that I have noticed with the Live Game HD is when I first got it and we did the Call of Duty 24-hour live stream, it lasted for about 22 hours and then decided that it had enough, it didn't want to do it anymore, and I got green screened and loads of fucking artifact lines and everything all over it. But I suppose that they're not intended to be used for stuff like that for extended periods of time. I mean, it did well for 22 hours, but maybe I'll try again one day. Maybe we'll do a 24-hour live stream. Actually, I probably will do the 48-hour live stream of Grand Theft Auto 5 when it comes out, because I am expecting to complete that game within 48 hours of it coming out, and completely 100% in it, getting all the video recorded, getting it uploaded to YouTube. What I'll be doing is I'll be doing 3 or 4 missions, bunching them all together, quickly editing them all together, and then getting them uploaded to YouTube, and then carrying on and then recording the next and the next and the next and the next, hopefully being one of the first main people to get all that content up on YouTube. So in September, on the 17th specifically, if I don't manage to get it any earlier, which I am hoping to, I'm talking to Rockstar PR at the moment, hoping to get maybe a review copy, I don't know, but fingers crossed, maybe, I don't know. It's probably very, very unlikely considering the size of my channel, but you never know, I could get very extremely lucky. But yeah, so in regards to the console wars and things like that, my advice is save your money and maybe upgrade your PC that you have at the moment, or save it away and maybe wait for the consoles to come down in price, because you know damn well 6 months afterwards that they are going to come down in price, especially the Xbox, because I can't see that selling extremely well on launch, and they're going to have to drop the price for it to even sell, unless they can bring out fantastic games for it, fantastic exclusives, which they said they have 15 exclusive titles, 8 of which are new IP. But how many of those titles are going to be Kinect games like Kinect Sports and Kinect Adventures? And you never know. A lot of gamers do not buy a console to actually have to run on the spot and jump around and everything. We want to sit on our fat arses with a controller in our hands and shoot shit. That is what we want to do. So yeah, my advice to you, save your money up. If you've got a pretty decent PC already and are looking to either upgrade your processor or your graphics card, then save your money. Use that 300 to 400, maybe even more pounds, and buy yourself a new graphics card or a new CPU. You can buy the same i5 that I have for about 200 quid, and then that extra 200 quid that you're going to save up, you could then wait a little bit longer, wait for the money you get for Christmas or whatever, and then buy yourself a decent graphics card as well. But the one thing you've got to bear in mind, if you are thinking about doing this, my advice that I'm giving to you here, then make sure that your motherboard can handle it. Make sure that if you want to upgrade to an i-series processor, then make sure that the socket that you have on your motherboard can handle it. If you're unsure of what motherboard you have and what it can take and how much RAM it can take, download CPU-Z. If you search Google for CPU-Z, you'll be able to find that. I'll also put a link to it in the description below. That will scan everything and it will tell you exactly what you've got. And then if you're worried that maybe you can't have an i-series processor, or that maybe these graphics cards will not work on your particular machine, if the machine's quite old, there's chances are that your PCI slots will be too slow for some of the newer stuff, so you're not really going to get the full whack out of it. There's no point in buying a graphics card when you're not going to get the full whack out of it. There's no point in spending £300 on a graphics card when you're only going to get 100 to 120 quid's worth of performance out of it. So do be careful if you are going to try and do what I've suggested there. But yeah, so like I said, there's not been much news out and about. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you are a new subscriber, then hello, and I will raccoon salute you. And I will see you guys next time.